Their extended families are here, and the city offers a comfortable place to raise their children. They find the perfect spot in the Country Club Lake Apartments. The complex has a playground, swimming pool, and other amenities to keep them busy.
These features are important to the couple. Since Michael is serving in the Navy, Tiara is alone a lot of the time.
Michael serves in the USS The Sullivans and is gone for weeks at a time.
Marrying young takes its toll on Tiara, whose relationship with her husband deteriorates through time.
He's not home a lot to help with sons Kenyon and Caden. Like a lot of military wives, she feels frustrated with the added responsibility.
The way Michael sees the situation, like a lot of military husbands, he's working hard to make ends meet for his family, even if it takes him away for weeks and causes friction between himself and his wife.
But Tiara has not given up on her own career dreams either. She's studying for a college course in medical billing.
She's hoping to eventually become a nurse, and ironically, even though she's frustrated at the Navy for taking Michael away so often, Tiara plans to achieve her goal through service in the Naval Reserves.
But her determination to better herself is, unfortunately, not without its lonely moments.
Tiara leaves her kids with Michael's mother while she studies at home, with an unhappy relationship with her father in the back of her mind.
With the pressures of being a young mom with an absent husband and a college student, Tiara goes looking for a little release from her busy, lonely life.
You know, loneliness can be a very controlling factor in someone's life if their loneliness is that tough or that extreme. She seemed to be a caring mother. You know, she was just not happy in her relationship.
Like a lot of people in the 2000s, Tiara goes online to Craigslist to find companionship outside of her marriage.
Craigslist, and especially at that time, was largely unmoderated, and with the personal section, it was basically the Wild West.
Today, there are trafficking laws preventing the misuse of personal ads for sexual activity.
But that is not the case in 2010.
Michael suspects his young bride is having affairs with other men, but he's not sure, and he's not home often enough to know if it is true.
At the same time, a family friend who does know it's true tries to convince Tiara to stop going online to meet other people, but she continues anyway.
Although the internet is filled with personal ads of an explicit sexual nature, it's a relatively tame ad Tiara places on Craigslist that attracts the attention to her.
On July 1st, 2010, Tiara posts an ad looking for a white male. She lists certain characteristics she wants in a potential candidate, but there's no sexually explicit language used in the post. In fact, one of the traits she's looking for? A chill attitude.
A chill attitude? Tiara signals in her language that she's not looking for your typical one-night hookup.
Within 4 days of posting the ad, Tiara Poole gets a response, one that suits all her qualifications for a mate.
Over the next week, Tiara messages, texts, and speaks to her new friend on the phone multiple times. And while she wasn't sexually overt in her ad, the conversations become increasingly explicit.
On July 8th, she entertains a visitor. Kenyon and Caden are away with relatives, so Tiara has the apartment to herself.
Tiara welcomes a man she knows from online. They've been chatting and texting.
Whatever starts in the living room soon moves to the bedroom.
And 4 days later, no one has heard from Tiara Poole.
Michelle Edwards is a friend who occasionally looks after Tiara's kids when Tiara needs a babysitter. She starts to get worried about Tiara after days without any communication from her. Add to that, the two are supposed to meet at the college Tiara is attending, and it's not like Tiara to ditch without a call or a message.
So, on July 12th, Michelle decides to check things out for herself.
Michelle uses the key Tiara has given her to enter the apartment and looks for any sign that Tiara is okay.
As soon as Michelle sees Tiara's hand on the bedroom floor, she runs out of the apartment and calls 911. She knows immediately that Tiara is not okay.
When police arrive, they discover Tiara is dead in the bedroom, lying in a pool of blood.
The bedroom is in chaos, with blood on the carpet, the door, and the wall. There's also blood stains in the bathroom. There's knife wounds across Tiara Poole's body, including many on her arms. That indicates she put up a real fight for her life in defending herself against her attacker.
With these types of injuries, it's clear Tiara did not die quickly during the attack.
It's the saddest of ends. 21-year-old Tiara Poole, a lonely military mom looking for a little companionship, dies alone on her bedroom floor. Her husband is now alone too, a widower. 2 young boys will grow up without their mother. And an entire city will soon learn about the terrifying implications of this murder.
With eHealth, you can compare Medicare plans side by side for free. So we invited people to give eHealth a try and discover how easy it can be to find your Medicare match.
This is pretty amazing. I can go on a vacation with this money. I had quite a few prescriptions.
That's why people call us. We're going to compare plans, and I'm going to try to get you as much bang for your buck as possible.
That's great.
This one here covers all your prescriptions, your doctors as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a hard time with this.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Based on our conversation today, I would highly recommend this plan.
You're so helpful. You don't know.
I'm excited for you, sir. Again, my name is Sham. If you have any other questions, give me a ring.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, that was super easy.
Whether you're newly eligible for Medicare or you simply have questions, eHealth can help. Just call this number or get started at eHealth.com. Compare plans that cover your doctors, prescriptions, pharmacy, and budget. Compare the coverage of Medicare Advantage, supplement, and prescription drug plans. And compare plans from the nation's top insurance companies. They pay us to help you.
Well, today you guys had the eHealth experience.
Yes.
Would you say you found your Medicare match?
Yes, I did. What Sham did, she explained to me exactly what I needed to know.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Sham, come on out.
Oh my goodness.
It's a pleasure to meet you today, sir.
What does it feel like to be face to face?
You helped me out quite a bit.
Call to meet your advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare plan you choose. Ask them about eHealth Live Advise or get started on your own at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service. Find your Medicare match today with eHealth like these folks did.
I was impressed with how much coverage you could get.
I could see the costs side by side. Now that we know that it's a free service, eHealth is just, I think, the best.
Call 1-800-811-1058 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
If you want faster home internet that's built for rural America, meet the next generation of HughesNet.
Hi!
Now you can do it all. Connect, stream, and play, wherever you live.
Now you can shop till you drop, because your internet won't.
Now I can video conference with confidence.
Yes! HughesNet is Jupiter-powered, with faster speeds than ever before, and unlimited data.
Now I can stream up anything I can dream up.
That's right.
And the HughesNet Fusion plan combines satellite and wireless technologies for a faster, more responsive internet experience.
How? There's no shame in my game.
Oh, game on.
HughesNet is now better than ever.
Nice.
Call today to get free professional installation and save $25 a month for 12 months.
This changes everything.
Yes, it does.
Now it's your chance to get HughesNet. Call 1-800-617-7624.
I was never able to find a bra that fit my small chest. Every bra gave me gaps, so I designed a bra that finally fits AA to B cups perfectly. No more cup gaps or looking 2 sizes bigger. Meet Pepper. Find your perfect fit at wearpepper.com.
Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Thuma.
"21-year-old Tiara Poole has just been found brutally murdered inside her Jacksonville, Florida apartment. It's now up to police to determine what led to this horrific crime and bring Tiara's killer to justice.
With the kids away at their grandparents' place and her Navy husband away at sea, Tiara Poole turns to the internet to meet some of her new companions.
But after 4 days of no communication, friend Michelle Edwards gets worried and goes to check on Tiara. What she finds changes the course of many people's lives forever. A member of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Officer Wesley Brown is the first law officer to arrive at the apartment.
Brown enters the bedroom and finds Tiara. It's a gruesome sight. She's been stabbed dozens of times.
There's blood everywhere across the master bedroom where Tiara took her last breaths.
There's a pool of blood on the floor and blood stains on the bed, wall, and on the bathroom door.
There are also blood drops at the entrance to the bathroom. Police determine the stains in the bathroom floor around the tub and toilet appear as though the killer attempted to wipe up the mess.
There is also a large knife missing from the kitchen, found in the bathroom leaning against the tub. Its blade is bent and its tip broken off.
There's no doubt this is the knife that killed Tiara Poole. The tip of the blade is embedded in her upper right forehead. Tiara also has punctures all across her body, with most of them to the head and neck area. There are at least 2 sets of potentially fatal wounds, including back punctures into her lungs and a slashed throat.
This is a vicious, personal, and prolonged killing. Tiara's final moments must have been a living nightmare.
The medical examiner, Dr. Jesse Giles, concludes there is ample evidence Tiara did her best to defend herself during the knife attack, which took many minutes, not seconds, before it was over.
Of the at least 89 wounds to Tiara's body, about half of them are defensive, on her hands and on her arms. She was doing all she could to survive.
Giles estimates the attack on Tiara lasted about 5 minutes, and she would have been conscious for all of it.
You can only imagine what was going through her mind in those final moments. She had 2 children and hopes for the future. Tiara fought desperately to see that future.
Outside of Tiara's body, officers find a variety of other evidence in the bedroom. A bottle of OxyClean and some pieces of clothing are found on the bed, and the comforter has a bloody rip through it.
The one thing investigators don't find is fingerprints.
This detail poses a real challenge for police. It looks like the killer made an effort to erase his tracks and make sure it would be very difficult to discover his identity.
Back in the living room, investigators are working the secondary scene.
One finding of note in the living room area is that there's no indications of forced entry into the apartment.
This suggests Tiara knew her killer, or at least let him in voluntarily.
Police can also tell the killer proceeded to steal a few items.
Tiara's purse is on the living room table with much of its contents strewn about. Her wallet is open.
And detectives notice the car keys for Tiara's 2003 Chevy Malibu are missing. So is her car from the apartment parking spot.
Finally, police discover Tiara's cell phone on the couch.
Investigators continue combing through the apartment and log a ton of physical evidence. But with no fingerprints, finding Tiara Poole's killer is not going to be easy.
Police know from friends that Tiara was lonely and had started chatting with different men online. So Tiara's cell phone and computer are important places to start for law enforcement. Text messages on Tiara's phone to and from different men she had met or contacted through Craigslist are possible clues.
The phone also sheds light on Tiara's activities in the days leading up to her murder.
In her Craigslist ad, Tiara says she's looking for real chill guys to meet in person.
At the time, Craigslist was still running a personal section, and there was no moderation or any kind of safeguards in place.
She asked for men she could trust to come and meet her at her apartment, adding she is looking for guys without having sex on their brain. Her email address is colormecherry@gmail.com. One particular contact comes up again and again as police search Tiara's phone and computer records.
Tiara's communications with this person include text messages that become, over time, sexually explicit. There's definitely a growing intimacy between the two.
Most of these back and forth messages take place between July 6th and July 8th, the day Tiara is murdered.
These texts lead investigators to their first name, David Spar.
Thanks to Tiara's phone and computer records, the police finally have a suspect and their first real lead in the investigation. Detectives now set their sights on David Spar, a 19-year-old resident of Waynesfield, Georgia.
By age 19, he already has a difficult history, from a terrible relationship with his mother and many stepfathers to alleged ties to street gangs.
But there's something about this bad boy that Tiara must like, because David Spar answers Tiara's ad and she makes an online connection.
What starts out as innocent flirting becomes increasingly explicit.
The relationship heats up to the point that these two decide to take it a step further and express a desire to meet in person.
While David lives in Georgia, his grandmother has heart problems and needs to visit St. Vincent's Medical Center in Jacksonville. Turns out he's going to be in town, so he and Tiara can get together.
For 2 days before he arrives, Tiara and David communicate back and forth numerous times. They are very excited to be in the same room.
David Spar and his grandmother pull into Jacksonville on July 8th, and David is more than ready to meet his new love, Tiara.
But suddenly, for some reason, the steamy text-a-palooza comes to a screeching halt. The last text message David sends to Tiara is, "Guess you're mad at me."
Maybe David's real-life hot afternoon with his internet hookup, Tiara Poole, is not going to happen after all.
Enjoy more financial freedom with Dave. In a pinch? Download the Dave app, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less, and access your cash instantly when you transfer it to Dave Checking. Stress less with no interest, credit check, or late fees. And with no minimum balance fees, you can enjoy more everyday moments with more money in your pocket. There's an easier way to get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less and bank through Dave.
This age-defying foundation is a game changer.
Can you see how this is immediately smoothing out my fine lines?
It has plumping hyaluronic acid.
Look at this. Melts in the skin.
Skin-like finish.
Oh, they got it. They got it. Artificial intelligence, shade matching, magic. Whatever they're doing, this is so good.
Take the Power Match quiz to find your perfect shade. Try before you buy.
We're told in Genesis chapter 1:26 that God has made man in his image, and by his likeness has he made him.
Genesis is a book of fundamental importance for the Jewish and Christian faiths, and a literary masterpiece that has profoundly shaped Western civilization. Now, in this exclusive online course from Hillsdale College, you can deepen your understanding of how this ancient book is essential to you today. Sign up for the Genesis story, absolutely free, at learnfromhillsdale.org. Dr. Justin Jackson, a distinguished Hillsdale College professor, will guide you through this fascinating free online course that unfolds the biblical stories of Adam and Eve, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. When you sign up, you'll explore some of life's most important questions, gain a greater appreciation for how the Bible confronts pain and hardship with redemption and hope, and discover how the struggles people faced thousands of years ago are deeply relevant to us still today. Take this 6-lesson course whenever it's most convenient for you, at your pace or on your schedule. Signing up is easy and free when you go to learnfromhillsdale.org today.
So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does a serpent talk? And not only that, but why is the serpent's punishment to crawl on its belly when that's what it does?
Join the hundreds of thousands of Americans who are enriching their lives through this exclusive online course from Hillsdale College and gain access to this premium content today.
What I hope you'll get from studying Genesis in this course is a deeper appreciation of the biblical insights with regards to the human person, its psychology, our predilection towards rivalry, but also reconciliation.
Sign up for the Genesis story, free of charge, at learnfromhillsdale.org today.
On a magical night, dreams take flight, and sometimes dreams come true. Snoopy arrives at Solitaire Grand Harvest. Dive into a world of fun and adventure with Snoopy right by your side as you play solitaire, solve challenges, and reach new heights. Collect the unique Snoopy collection and prepare for an experience filled with joy and excitement. Solitaire never felt so good with Solitaire Grand Harvest. Download for free now.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
It's July 12, 2010, and Tierra Poole has just been found dead on the floor of her bedroom, 4 days after anyone last spoke to her. She has been stabbed multiple times and left alone to die in a pool of blood. In addition to the vicious, unsolved murder, police also discover a robbery has taken place in the modest apartment Tierra shares with her husband Michael and their 2 sons.
Tierra's open purse clearly suggests someone looking for money or other valuables, but there were other clues of robbery in Poole's apartment too.
A PlayStation game console is missing from the apartment, along with a wireless router, some video games, and a set of keys.
That set of keys belongs to Tierra's 2003 Chevy Malibu, which is missing from the building's parking lot.
And then there's one curious thing that hasn't been stolen: a cell phone found on the couch.
Well, so much is still a mystery. The cell phone could be the one thing that could break this case wide open.
In the last week of her life, Tierra's search for a companion to cure her loneliness seems to have succeeded. She's been exchanging a lot of texts and messages with a Georgia man named David Spar. This fast and furious long-distance flirting between Tierra and David quickly becomes much more intimate. And even though Tierra is a married mother of 2, she's itching to meet her paramour in person.
Detectives are able to use Tierra's computer and phone records to locate Spar's address in Waynesboro, Georgia. So they head north for a little visit.
Spar is currently living with his grandmother.
Officers greet Spar and his grandma and ask him to come with them to answer some questions about an investigation they're conducting.
Spar is not a suspect, and the officers tell him he is not under arrest. Spar agrees to accompany them. As promised, investigators make it as comfortable as possible for David Spar. They bring him a soda and ease him into the conversation. They're about to tell him the woman he's been in a relationship with is dead, and they don't know how he's going to react.
The first thing they do is pull out a photo of Tierra Poole, who has been murdered. Does David Spar recognize this woman?
Spar confirms that yes, he recognizes Tierra. She's the Jacksonville woman he met online on Craigslist 3 weeks earlier, after she posted an ad.
Spar says he traveled to Jacksonville on July 8th with his grandmother, who was to have a heart catheter inserted at St. Vincent's Hospital. He had hoped to meet Tierra in person on the same trip.
He texts Tierra from the hospital, letting her know he's in town. And lo and behold, Tierra comes down and meets him in the hospital's information desk.
Spar tells police the 2 chat for a bit, then decide to go back to her apartment.
They've been sexting and hinting and building to this moment for a few weeks now. They both couldn't wait any longer. Once he's back at the hospital, Spar texts Tierra again. But this time, unlike all the other times, she doesn't respond.
Police thank Spar for his time. He has helped them piece together the last hours of her life, and it sounds like, according to him, they were enjoyable ones.
Before he does, though, police ask him for one more thing that could help them out: the clothes he was wearing on July 8th. He happily agrees to provide them.
David Spar has been forthcoming and polite with police. He answers all their questions and gives them everything they asked for. He doesn't shut down or lawyer up.
But when investigators go over their notes from their interview with David, they realize something is wrong with the timeline Spar has given them.
Now, this could have just been a mistake on David's part. He could have misspoken. But if he deliberately shifted the date of when he first met Tierra, that's a big red flag for any detective.
Armed with this new information, investigators decide to check into David Spar's phone records. And it's there they find more inconsistencies.
The 2 texts he claims to have sent from the hospital after Tierra dropped him off were actually pinged from another location, across a river from the medical facility.
Surveillance footage recorded by hospital cameras at the time is also at odds with David's story.
In the recording, Spar enters the lobby of the hospital at 2:20 p.m., followed by the arrival of Tierra 10 minutes later.
Footage from another hospital camera shows the couple returning to the hospital from their Tears Through the Parkade. But in this video, Spar is wearing different clothes than the ones he provided investigators. Another lie, and another big red flag.
So, while David seemed to be cooperative and helpful, police now know he has been anything but. Police track David Spar down at a relative's home in Charleston, South Carolina. And on July 24th, he is arrested as a person of interest in the death of Tierra Poole.
Still being cooperative, Spar agrees to allow to the search of his residence, his property, and of his vehicles.
He sits down with police for another talk. This time, though, it's not a cordial chat.
The interrogation after his formal arrest starts with much of the same details.
Once again, David tells police Tierra joined him at the hospital, that they talked for a while, and that they left together and went back to her apartment for a good time.
After they had sex, he repeats that Tierra drove him back to the hospital and left to go back home.
Spar also reminds police that he sent 2 texts to Tierra after she dropped him off that she didn't respond to. At 5:21 p.m., Spar sends a message saying, "Don't bother coming," followed by another at 6:15 p.m. telling her, "Guess you're mad at me." After listening to Spar's story, the detectives decide to challenge his version of events and judge his reaction. Investigators already have phone records from David's cell carrier indicating he was not at the hospital, as he says he was, when he sent those final 2 texts to Tierra's phone.
Police also reveal to David that they have surveillance camera footage that just doesn't jive with his story.
Despite the circumstantial evidence police have just presented to him, Spar continues to insist he is not responsible for Tierra's murder.
And, truth be told, at this point, officers don't have any physical evidence linking him to the crime.
You're looking pretty good, Mr. Johnson.
Wow, okay.
The front desk said you recently enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan. Well, Medicare Parts A and B do not cover your routine dental coverage. Yes, you have a Medicare Part C plan, commonly called Medicare Advantage. Medicare Part C plans cover everything in Part A and Part B, plus benefits like dental, vision, or hearing.
Wow. That's great that my plan includes dental coverage that helps pay for these costs.
Yes, Mr. Johnson. A Medicare Part C plan could include dental coverage.
If you're losing coverage, moving, or new to Medicare, call now because there may be plans available with additional benefits that are simply not covered under Medicare Parts A and B, like routine dental coverage. In fact, nearly half of Medicare beneficiaries do not have any dental coverage. Here's the good news. 2025 Medicare Advantage plans are now available. If you're on Medicare, you can call now, even if you called last year, and talk to a licensed insurance agent to learn more about Medicare Advantage plans from Humana, United Healthcare, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna Healthcare, WellCare, or Kaiser Permanente. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits. Remember, you don't get a Medicare Part C plan with additional benefits automatically. So call now for your free, no-obligation 2025 Medicare Benefits Review.
Just call 800-398-1976. 800-398-1976. 800-398-1976.
I was never able to find a bra that fit my small chest. Every bra gave me gaps, so I designed a bra that finally fits AA to B cups perfectly. No more cup gaps or looking 2 sizes bigger. Meet Pepper. Find your perfect fit at wearpepper.com.
Not gonna happen.
That's it. I'm calling Kohler about their walk-in bath.
My name is Ken. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling about Kohler's walk-in bath.
Excellent.
Happy to help. Hold one moment, please. The Kohler walk-in bath features an extra wide opening and a low step-in at 3 inches, which is lower than other walk-in baths on the market. The bath fills and drains quickly, while the heated backrest soothes your back, neck, and shoulders. Kohler is an expert in bathing, so you can count on a deep soaking experience.
Are you seeing this?
The Kohler walk-in bath comes with fully adjustable hydrotherapy jets and our exclusive bubble massage. Everything is installed in as little as a day by a Kohler certified installer, and it's made by Kohler, America's leading plumbing brand.
We need this bath.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Call 800-913-8244.
To receive $1,000 off your Kohler walk-in bath and take advantage of no payments until 2026.
Oh, our car's value went up.
Maybe we should track all our cars' value on Carvana. We need more trackers.
I'm getting a value update. Do you see which one is going on?
How's it tracking?
Some dips, some rises. Now what? Hold.
Sold. Track your car's value on Carvana today.
David Spahr has been arrested on a mounting collection of circumstantial evidence and some inconsistencies in the stories he's been telling about the day 21-year-old Tierra Poole was murdered. But David Spahr insists he's innocent, and police don't have enough concrete proof to charge him.
Then, just as police think David Spahr is done talking, he starts telling stories again.
This time, Spahr shares that on July 8th, he actually goes back to Tierra's apartment after they had sex, and she dropped him off to see his grandma at the hospital. He says he returns to get some cigarettes.
When he gets there, he discovers there's blood everywhere. He freaks out and he leaves the building.
Officers are suspicious that this story is the real truth, but it does account for why David Spahr may have been in Tierra's apartment at the time of the killing. And without evidence to dispute it, they're stuck.
Just when they think they've been backed into a corner, investigators realize that David Spahr's stories are like the weather. If you don't like it, wait a minute and it will change. So detectives decide to increase the pressure in an attempt to secure a confession.
Spahr begins talking again. This time, when the story shifts, he puts the murder weapon into his own hand.
David says he's taking a shower in Tierra's apartment when she unexpectedly attacks him with a knife. The shocking, unprovoked attack causes him to black out.
He says when he regains his senses, Tierra's in a pool of blood on the bedroom floor.
Spahr claims he doesn't remember stabbing Tierra, but suggests if he did stab her, he was acting in self-defense because she was actually trying to kill him. Spahr says he's the actual victim here. He says he was protecting himself against Tierra's unprovoked and vicious knife attack. But he thought no one would believe him, so he wiped down the scene for fingerprints.
This story of David Spahr's amounts to a confession, but he has no memory of the murder. And more importantly, some of the details still don't match the crime.
Tierra was attacked on the bed in the bedroom, and not in the bathroom, for example.
The police have had enough of Spahr's half-truths, and they're losing patience.
They asked David once and for all, tell us one more story, and this time, make it the truth.
Spahr says he did take a shower. He comes out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist, and Tierra asked him to give her a back massage.
At some point during the massage, Tierra Poole mentioned she is married and has 2 kids.
For David Spahr, this is a bombshell revelation. Married with 2 kids? He travels 6 hours for what he thinks is a budding new relationship. But now he knows this woman wasn't interested in him in any serious way at all. He's been duped.
A spurned lover? Now that is a motive for murder. Investigators believe for the first time that David Spahr is telling the truth.
Spahr continues that after he learned the information about Tierra's family, he blacks out. When he comes to and sees a knife in his hand, he realizes what he's doing, stops.
He maintains that he was not aware and he did not perceive that he was stabbing Tierra.
David says he's had these blackouts before, including once while he was driving and got into a car accident.
After he stabs Tierra, Spahr says he goes through her purse and finds 8 hydrocodone pills.
Hydrocodone is an opioid that is intended to block pain signals to the brain. In large quantities, it can make it very difficult to maintain focus.
He says he takes the pills after the attack because he's so upset.
David tells detectives that blood stinks so bad, and he starts to clean up the bloody mess he's made. He admits he learned how to wipe down a crime scene on the television show CSI.
Before he leaves, David says he gathers up the PlayStation, some games, and a router from the apartment, as well as the keys for Tierra's vehicle.
Police are grateful to David Spahr for telling the truth. They know how hard it is to admit to mistakes, especially fatal ones.
Surprisingly, David is grateful to these detectives too. He tells them what happened at Tiara's apartment had been weighing heavily, and he knows police would eventually be coming for him.
With the confession seemingly in the can, investigators breathe a sigh of relief. They believe they know the truth of what happened to Tiara Poole.
But after hours of intense interrogation, David Spahr is changing stories and numerous versions of events. And the fact police had lost their tempers. They wonder if they pushed David Spahr too hard and led their prime suspect too far down the path. Is it possible this perfect jailhouse confession could be false?
We're told in Genesis chapter 1:26 that God has made man in his image, and by his likeness has he made him.
Genesis is a book of fundamental importance for the Jewish and Christian faiths, and a literary masterpiece that has profoundly shaped Western civilization. Now, in this exclusive online course from Hillsdale College, you can deepen your understanding of how this ancient book is essential to you today. Sign up for the Genesis story, absolutely free, at learnfromhillsdale.org. Dr. Justin Jackson, a distinguished Hillsdale College professor, will guide you through this fascinating free online course that unfolds the biblical stories of Adam and Eve, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. When you sign up, you'll explore some of life's most important questions, gain a greater appreciation for how the Bible confronts pain and hardship with redemption and hope, and discover how the struggles people faced thousands of years ago are deeply relevant to us still today. Take this 6-lesson course whenever it's most convenient for you, at your pace or in your schedule. Signing up is easy and free when you go to learnfromhillsdale.org today.
So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does a serpent talk? What, and not only that, but why is the serpent's punishment to crawl on its belly when that's what it does?
Join the hundreds of thousands of Americans who are enriching their lives through this exclusive online course from Hillsdale College and gain access to this premium content today.
What I hope you'll get from studying Genesis in this course is a deeper appreciation of the biblical insights with regards to the human person, psychology, our predilection towards rivalry, but also reconciliation.
Sign up for the Genesis story, free of charge, at learnfromhillsdale.org today.
Slotomania, the #1 free slots game, presents straight from the Vegas casino floors to your phone, the iconic Cleopatra 2 slot, featuring Cleopatra's symbols that give you double. Download Slotomania now and start 2025 with 25 free spins.
I tried a bunch of different probiotics before seed,
and they didn't help. It addressed my bloating and my irregularity.
It's really helping my daily bowel movements and keeping me pretty regular. I started feeling better and less bloated, felt flatter, lighter. I just keep going back to seed because it actually works.
now I walk around smiling every day because I don't get bloated anymore.
As you get older, your liver health becomes an increasingly important part of the aging process. We created Dose for your liver to make taking care of your liver easy. Dose is an organic blend of liver-supporting ingredients and is clinically backed to promote healthy liver function so that nothing's holding you back.
Real cases.
She'd been murdered.
Chilling details.
The whole world started to glow.
And the science that cracks them wide open.
Let's cement our case.
Uncover the truth with Forensic Files. Next. Only on True Crime Network.
David Spahr confesses to viciously killing Tiara Poole in her apartment on July 8, 2010. But police wonder if they pushed him too hard and forced out a false confession. Ultimately, it will be up to the jury to decide. Spahr is indicted by a Florida grand jury for 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder and 1 count of first-degree felony murder, with burglary as the underlying felony. State prosecutors indicate they will seek the death penalty for Spahr's crimes.
Because of the unique online details of the case, the media dubs David Spahr with the nickname the Craigslist Killer. The trial begins on November 28, 2011 in the Duval County Courthouse. Spar is represented by attorneys from the Office of the Public Defender.
Since police saw him last, Spar's appearance has changed.
When he was arrested, Spar looked fairly plain and clean-cut.
Once his trial starts, his appearance hardens into that of a thug, with a shaved head and tattoos on the side of his face.
He showed up for hearings having no tattoos going in. Then he started getting prison tattoos even before his trial. I believe he said he had joined a gang while he was in custody.
Prosecuting attorney Bernie De La Ronda begins, and he centers first on the viciousness of the murder. The killer inflicted an unthinkable number of stab wounds on Tierra Poole. 89.
89. Over 89 stab wounds, cuts were made by that man.
That's not self-defense. That's not a crime of passion. That is just out-and-out brutality and violence. That's something that's just unhinged and psychotic.
Next, Tierra's husband, Michael Poole, testifies he and his wife were high school sweethearts, admitting as well they were having marital problems.
Poole said he knew Tierra had been putting personal ads on Craigslist, but did not know about the ones Spar answered. The prosecution has evidence the text and call messages on Tierra's phone included contacts with other men, but Spar was the name that kept popping up the week she died.
They emphasized that Tierra's personal ad on Craigslist said she was looking for friendship, and it was not sexually explicit.
Yet the message between her and David Spar, starting on July 6th to the day of the killing on July 8th, get increasingly explicit.
They included the two agreeing to meet the day of the murder at St. Vincent's Hospital, where his grandmother was a patient. The state continues with their case, and in total present 14 witnesses to testify for the prosecution.
The most damning testimony for the prosecution comes from Spar's former girlfriend, Ashley Tunings, the mother of his child.
She tells the court Spar confessed to her he had killed Tierra. Ashley didn't believe him at first, but then he sends a letter describing the murder.
In that letter, Spar brags about planning the killing. He uses a gender-based slur to describe killing her. In his words, he slumped that, and it was a good rush.
He also writes he had killed before in a gang initiation, and his grandmother, being in the Jacksonville hospital, gave him the perfect alibi to kill Tierra.
I can't understand something like that. It's beyond me how someone can just carelessly take someone's life just for the thrill of it. Just shows how uncaring and unfeeling Spar was.
Spar is obviously fuming at Ashley as she leaves the stand. He mouths the B word at her in full view of the jurors.
Spar's defense attorney, Refik Eller, tries to block the letter from being introduced into evidence.
Ashley's testimony is damning. So damning, in fact, it could put Spar away for good. So after conferring with his lawyers, he agrees to a defense strategy that could at least prevent a sentence of the death penalty.
In his defense's opening statement, Spar agrees to concede to a second-degree murder charge rather than be tried for first-degree murder. Now fighting for his client's innocent, but in order to keep his client alive, defense attorney Michael Bade actually opens his defense where he admits that Spar killed Poole.
He looked down and he saw the body of Tierra Poole laying there in her own blood.
But he asked the jury what degree of murder they would believe he was guilty of. Bade says when Tierra revealed she was still married and had 2 kids, Spar lost control of himself. He just snapped. But the murder wasn't premeditated. He asked the jury to keep this critical piece of information in their minds as they deliberate their verdict.
The judge instructs jurors on the definitions of first and second degree murder, and the group retires to consider the evidence.
It doesn't take long for the jury to reach a verdict.
After only 25 minutes of deliberations, the jury is back in court with a unanimous verdict: guilty as charged. They decide Spar's actions were premeditated, and a Craigslist killer receives a conviction of first-degree murder.
Spar shows little emotion to the verdict. He almost looks bored.
The prosecution has won their case, but Spar still has to go through the sentencing phase to decide whether or not he will face the ultimate penalty for his crime, death.
In the state of Florida, a death sentence is either carried out by lethal injection or a trip to the electric chair. A terrifying prospect for David Spar, whose attorneys argue for a lesser sentence.
Her family wants justice for Tiara, but Spar's defense team are arguing for life in prison.
Everyone connected to the case is watching carefully for the answer to the same question. Will Spar's life be spared, or will it end like Tiara's did, in death?
With eHealth, you can compare Medicare plans side by side for free. So we invited people to give eHealth a try and discover how easy it can be to find your Medicare match.
This is pretty amazing. I can go on a vacation with this money. I have quite a few prescriptions.
That's why people call us. We're going to compare plans, and I'm going to try to get you as much bang for your buck as possible.
That's great.
This one here covers all your prescriptions, your doctors as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a hard time with this.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Based on our conversation today, I would highly recommend this plan.
You're so helpful. You don't know.
I'm excited for you, sir. Again, my name is Sham. If you have any other questions, give me a ring.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, that was super easy.
Whether you're newly eligible for Medicare or you simply have questions, eHealth can help. Just call this number or get started at eHealth.com. Compare plans that cover your doctors, prescriptions, pharmacy, and budget. Compare the coverage of Medicare Advantage, supplement, and prescription drug plans. And compare plans from the nation's top insurance companies. They pay us to help you.
Well, today you guys had the eHealth experience.
Yes.
Would you say you found your Medicare match?
Yes, I did. What Sham did, she explained to me exactly what I needed to know.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Sham, come on out.
Oh my goodness.
It's a pleasure to meet you today, sir.
What does it feel like to be face to face?
You helped me out quite a bit.
Call to meet your advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare plan you choose. Ask them about eHealth Live Advise or get started on your own at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service. Find your Medicare match today with eHealth like these folks did.
I was impressed with how much coverage you could get.
I could see the costs side by side. Now that we know that it's a free service, eHealth is just, I think, the best.
Call 1-800-811-1058 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
It's lunchtime, and Gary is double booked. Good thing Gary's company uses Otter's AI meeting assistant to take notes and generate a summary. So Gary doesn't miss a meeting and can regain his lunch break. Try now for free. Visit otter.ai or download the app.
I was never able to find a bra that fit my small chest. Every bra gave me gaps, so I designed a bra that finally fits AA to B cups perfectly. No more cup gaps or looking 2 sizes bigger. Meet Pepper. Find your perfect fit at wearpepper.com.